Hi, this is Mike at Triple Water Astrology. This podcast gives a brief introduction to the 8 hypothetical Transneptunians. If you read my newsletter or follow me on Facebook, you'll know that I am quite fond of the hypotheticals. I'm not sure how I kind of fell into using them, but they've been fantastic in terms of explanation and prediction. I've had various people over the years tell me, well, I'm not going to use the hypotheticals because no one can prove that they actually exist or they may not exist and they've never been observed. And I've had others state something to the effect that, well, you're wasting your time using them because there's always going to be something else in the chart that delineates the idea and manifestation of what you're looking for rather than having to use them. And actually, the opposite has been proven to be the case for me. I've absolutely gained additional insight that I wouldn't have gained without using one or more of the 8 hypotheticals. So it's been fantastic. Like I said, this is a brief introduction. I encourage you to go out and use them or just enjoy thinking about them if you're a little bit newer to astrology. If you're a seasoned astrologer, I'd love to hear what your experience with them is. So I had the artificial intelligence create 8 different portraits of the hypotheticals. It did a fantastic job, and if you want to follow along with the picture, in the upper left, the first is Cupido. Cupido moves the fastest of the 8 hypotheticals. Cupido has the fastest orbit, and all of the hypotheticals are quite slow. The slowest is Poseidon. Poseidon takes about 2 years to transit through 1 degree, and then Cupido moves a little over a degree per year, but the next fastest hypothetical, Hades, moves at about 1 degree per year. So that gives kind of a rough estimate of how fast they are, which is not fast at all. However, I suggest please don't let their slow orbit daunt you from using them. And also, I use quite a restricted orb with the hypotheticals. 1 degree. In some cases, I'll go a little bit above, but I usually don't. And then also, the hard aspects, conjunction, square, and opposition, have more of an impact, especially with the malefics. But I use all of the Ptolemaic aspects with the hypotheticals, which again, someone into Iranian astrology may disagree. So anyway, Cupido is the fastest. Cupido is benefic. Cupido's glyph is a combination of Jupiter and Venus. So a lot of enjoyment might be had, as you might guess, when Cupido is active in someone's natal promise or transits and so on. Cupido, a few keywords with Cupido include family, clan, community, togetherness, social, and Cupido is also affiliated with art. Moving on to the right of Cupido, the figure sitting on a throne, that's Hades. Hades is malefic, but I suggest that you not be put off by the kind of malefic or benefic connotations. You really have to look at each individual case. Hades has redeeming qualities, just as Cupido might have some downsides, such as clannishness. Cupido can be clannish. So anyway, Hades is quite an intense and sometimes difficult hypothetical. His symbolism includes muck, waste, and garbage, manipulation, a kind of decay and wasting away, maybe something underground. But he also is cathartic, and he has an alchemical kind of theme, and perhaps most fascinating with Hades is he has a theme associated with past lives. Third, still going to the right, is Zeus, and he has the lightning bolts surrounding him. Zeus is very immediate, he's energetic, and he's focused very much in the moment, and he's very much about concentrated energy. So there's a laser-like focus associated with Zeus. He's very industrious. He could have, as with any other point or planet, he has some downsides, perhaps anger or rashness and so on. In the upper right corner is Kronos. The picture shows mountains and a mountain peak, which is very appropriate for Kronos. Kronos is about the highest, something associated with the highest. So it could be literal, like a mountaintop or a tall building, a high altitude, something like that. But he's also symbolic of someone in a position of authority. So a government figure like the president, that would be very symbolic of Kronos. A person in the military, especially someone of rank, a general in the military, would be very Kronos. So Kronos is also about specialization, and he's also earthy. So right away, the first out of the first four hypotheticals are earthy. Hades has the glyph of cross of matter in his glyph, and so does Kronos. In the lower left corner is Apollon. Apollon is benefic. So when we start on the fifth hypothetical, on the last four, the first one is benefic again, just like Cupido. Apollon is a multiplier, and he's about increase, he's about breadth, he's about scholarship. So he's about letting your light shine. He's very he's very good when he's active in someone's chart. You can be famous even. But the flip side is perhaps excess, or when Apollon is involved in something negative, it multiplies what's negative, so he's not always good, of course. And then he could be associated with infamy. But overall, he's quite benefic, and I like watching for Apollon if someone needs a boost. And just as an example, my progressed chart has an active Apollon because my progressed Pluto has moved into a conjunction with Apollon. I was born right before Pluto was conjuncting Apollon. Sixth, we have Admetus. He's the one holding the staff. Admetus is very earthy. Apollon is about breadth, a wide, kind of extroverted kind of symbolism. Admetus is a bit introverted. He's about depth. He's about focus and persistence. And in my experience, in my research, he's also malefic, just like Hades. So Admetus also has the cross of matter in his glyph. If you feel stuck, going around in circles, that's Admetus, and he's very earthy. So how you deal with that depends on your natal promise, and perhaps if you have a lot of earth in your chart and you're very patient, he could be beneficial for you. I think Admetus has really taught me patience, and I am not a patient person, so that's his function. So there can be some frustrations there. Ultimately, he wants to provide a foundation. So whether that could be literal, or it could be more figurative. Vulcanus is the seventh. Vulcanus is mighty force. He's energetic just like Zeus. So we have parallels between all of these, the top four and the bottom four, they all have parallels among each other. So Vulcanus is very energetic, and Zeus is very hyper-focused, and I think Vulcanus is more just kind of like a wave of force. He can be controlling. So as an example, a more concrete example, when Vulcanus was transiting over my natal sun, several years ago. That was quite a transit because he moves pretty slowly, and he retrogrades. So there was several years that Vulcanus was conjuncting my sun, and I started bodybuilding more intensely and regularly when Vulcanus was doing that. There's other examples I could give regarding Vulcanus in mundane events and in say celebrities' charts. Poseidon is the eighth. Poseidon is wisdom, clarity, and insight. Poseidon is enlightenment. So Kronos is the peak of the earthy experience, ascending to a position of highest authority on Earth. And then Poseidon is ascending to spiritual heights. Poseidon, I believe, is considered benefic, but I need more evidence to show that. I'm not entirely convinced that he's just benefic. I would have to see more proof of that in mundane events, and I have not found that to be the case, but I would need to do more research. As always, the research is ongoing. Now, Poseidon is also concerned with theory and doctrine. That's my thoughts briefly about the 8 hypotheticals. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and see you next time.